Hey guys, welcome to Traditional Bow Hunting Wilderness Podcast. This is Jason Samkoviak. Today we're going to talk about something here as far as shooting instruction and the things that are out there and the people that are teaching it and availability of it. I made a video a few weeks ago, where I said in there that I'm done with all the shooting techniques. Okay, I'm done with playing with all that kind of stuff. I don't need them anymore. I don't want to mess with them, and all they do is screw me up. I stand by that. I mean that 100%. But since that's been out, I did do some thinking in the fact that it could probably be portrayed maybe a little bit on the wrong side, and I want to clear the air on that kind of thing and make it let you talk about that for a second. So when it comes to the methods that you're going to shoot, the purpose of that video was showing my examples of how I am done with a lot of the things that I have been told and they don't work for me. My shooting is spot on. I don't need to have that stuff. I don't want to shoot the ways that people are telling me I need to. You can see here, okay, I mean, we're at 18 yards. And you can see there that I have not, I mean, my shooting has never been better for me than it is right now. And the reasoning for that is because of the fact that I basically have said I'm giving up on all of this, this shooting stuff, these techniques. That didn't mean that you should give up on those techniques. It doesn't mean that you should stop using them, or that you shouldn't take things away from them, or that any of the people that are out there teaching this stuff is wrong. That is not the case. It's important that you understand that. There are a lot of great instructors out there that are teaching a lot of the same stuff. There's a lot of great people out there that are showing things. I talked in there about clickers. Clickers are a fantastic tool. Tab clickers, string clickers. You have people that are teaching mantras and teaching different methods and your classic stuff. And that's all very good instruction. And it will probably help a tremendous amount of people. Me, personally, they're not doing anything for it, and I'm done. Simple things like that pull-through release. I had a guy on there, too, tell me that even on my one I did it with the bag target, after I just got done making a video saying that I'm done with all this other stuff and I don't care. All I'm going to do is focus on the spot I want to hit, and I'm going to shoot it. And that's all I'm thinking about when I'm shooting it at targets or animals. He comes on and says, well, you're creeping on your release, and I don't care. He's like, but you can't be teaching people that it's okay to creep on your release. I can. He even told me to stay in my lane. And once you tell me to stay in my lane, I pretty much take the whole road over. I don't tolerate that kind of stuff very easily. But the point being here is that there is tremendous instructors out there. There is a lot of information that you can learn. If you are capable of shooting your bow and pulling through the release, that is going to be a better release. There's no doubt about it. Can I do it? No, I've tried it. You think this information is new? You think people that are teaching this stuff, they just came up with this? No, it's been around since the beginning of time, to do that. Well, I did that. I tried that forever. Even back, I mean, we're going back 25 years ago. I was doing that, and then finally I saw a video by Ron LeClaire, and he said, I don't want my hand to move. I don't do a pull-through release. I want my hand static, and I want my release to stay right there. And then I started shooting that way, and it did really, really good for me. And then I went back to, because of peer pressure, people saying, you shouldn't do that. You gotta pull through. The hand has to come back here. It's got to do this. It's got to come back, and that's the only way to get a clean release. And so, I try that. The proof is in the pudding. I've been doing these videos for 13 years now. If you go back anywhere in any of my shooting videos or any of my instruction stuff, you will say that I went from full pull through to a hybrid release where I would come in here and then I would pull through and kick on the last little bit. I tried all these different things. I am almost 50 years old, and I'm telling you, none of that crap works for me, because every time I shoot at an animal, which I have all these videos of, I'm not doing any of that. I can come out and practice and creep a little bit and shoot and do this kind of stuff, and then when I'm shooting video of me shooting animals, it's static. Why fight it then? People tell me, well, you'll gain the repetition. Do it all the time. I can't gain the repetition. It doesn't matter to me. So for me, in my stuff only, that stuff does not work. It's irrelevant. I'm going to just shoot the way I shoot. For me, that's going to try to be a static release. If that means that I creep a little bit before I release, I don't care. I'd still want my hand to pretty much stay here or right here. I don't want it going back here. I don't shoot good that way. And I don't ever want to focus on, okay, remember, pull through it. Never will I say that. If I say anything, Okay, come back, get locked in. Okay, all right, locked in. Don't forget to pull through. I've lost my focus. That's my point of what I'm saying is none of that stuff works for me. It doesn't matter to me, and I've been doing this long enough that I don't care what anybody else is teaching. With that said, there is some, again, incredible instructors. Will you get a cleaner release by pulling through? Probably. Not for me. It's a mess for me, so I'm not doing it. Will you be a better shooter as a gap shooter? Probably, especially in the beginning. Me, no, not so much ever. I'll stay with my instinctive shooting. I'll stay with what's worked for me for all these years. I'm not going to change any of it. But I'm not trying to take anything away from the instruction out there. And when I say I'm done with those shooting techniques, doesn't mean that you should be too. If you are having a problem with your release, then there's incredible tutorials, instruction. You got the guys from the Push and their shooting schools, and you got Tom Klum and you got Rod Jenkins, and you got a million people out there that Paul Helms. These guys are teaching you incredible shooting techniques that are not bad. But again, you have to, my recommendation is you take from that what you want and you use it to your advantage. But don't deny what's in your head and what your body and how it works for you. None of that stuff that any of those guys that preach or teach, any of that kind of Joel Turner with his system and the mantras, and it may work if I were to commit to it wholly and go through. I don't know, but it doesn't. And archery is supposed to be fun. Bow hunting is supposed to be fun. I don't want to make it a lot of work. Remember when we were kids and we would just go out there and you picked up the bow and you put a stick on it or an arrow on it and you shot it and you didn't care about the rest? That's what I want. And when I go back to that, my results are speaking for themselves. I've never shot as good as I have in the last month by forgetting everything that somebody taught me and just focusing on that spot. So for me, that system has been flawless, but there is no denying, and I never want to make it sound like I was degrading or minimizing the effects and the capabilities you get by these amazing instructors that are out there. A lot of them are my friends. A lot of them I have friends that have been through every single course out there that's there, and they all gain something from it. So when I made that video, it's about my journey, and it's about what happens to me, and it's about how I was frustrated and fed up with that stupid pull-through release, which, again, everybody wants. Everybody, and with good reason. It is probably the best way to do it. But everybody, I hated it. I hated it. And finally, when I said, forget it, I don't care. Pick the spot, shoot it. That's when all the difference became relevant. That's when it all clicked for me, and it's been going for a month like that. Rocks out. I have never shot as good as I do now, ever. And it is because I gave up on all that kind of stuff. However, with that said, if I was unhappy with the way my release is and wanted to change it, I would seek that information from those guys. If I wanted to do something different, I would seek it. If I was brand new and coming into this and wanted to learn the right ways and develop good habits and things like that, I would seek it. It doesn't mean for a second that it is the end-all be-all, any one of them. And a lot of them are preaching of a lot of the same kind of stuff with good reason. But it's not, none of it works for me. I'm just not sold. I don't care. I never, none of what I do matches what anybody out there teaches. My form is hunkered in. My cant is way too much on the bow. My release is static and then kind of creepy and maybe a little sloppy. My bow arm does what it wants to. None of it, everything they would teach is completely wrong for what I do. But I don't care because it works for me for a long time. But if you are looking for shooting instruction and you are looking for new ways to do things and you want to get better at this stuff, those classes have been proven to help a tremendous amount of people shoot better. There's no denying that, not even a little bit. So they're well worth your time and your energy to take them. For me personally, I'm not doing it. I'm done with it, like I said. When I made that video, I did not want to make it sound like there's no value in what they have. There is tremendous value there. But now the takeaway from that, find the bits and pieces you want and use them. I remember when I started, 26 years ago, I decided I wanted to be a photographer, and I started learning all these pros. Okay, you hear this word all the time, the pros, and I used to get it constantly in the photography world too. Well, the pros say to do this. A pro is somebody who gets paid to do something. That's all there is to it. Okay, it doesn't mean they're good at it or that their way is the best or anything like that, but more short version of this story is I broke every rule of photography there was. And by breaking those rules and going against the grain and doing things different, my shooting became so amazing with that stuff that I'm the most heavily awarded photographer in the entire state of Michigan. 30 awards. I mean, it skyrocketed my career as a wedding photographer and took me to levels that other people could never dream of. And I don't mean that arrogantly. It's all proof. It's right there. But I'm very proud of it. That would have never happened had I followed everybody's rules. Okay, if I'd have done what the experts said, I would have just became another one of these expert minions that kind of followed suit. I decided to go against the grain, do things my way, shoot my way, break the rules my way, and my images were amazing, and they took me to places other people could never get to. Point being, same thing can happen with your shooting. Whether what I'm doing is right or wrong, it doesn't matter, because it obviously works phenomenal for me. And that's all I care about, is what works for me. I don't care how you shoot. Nobody cares how you shoot. Nobody cares. It's the beauty of traditional archery and traditional bow hunting. Nobody cares if you're good. Nobody cares if you're bad. They just love the camaraderie, shooting with you, having fun, doing this stuff. You're only in competition with yourself. If you want to try to get better, there is excellent education out there. If you then take that education and some part of it does not work very good for you, change it. Don't use it. I get ripped on all the time because I shoot a 31% FOC arrow, okay, with that's 710 grains, follows a lot of the Ashby rules, and yet they're like, but yet you use a 1.5 inch wide broadhead and you use massively huge feathers. Yeah, I do. But that's not what you're supposed to do. That defeats the purpose. You're not getting the full benefit of the Ashby type arrow. You're right, I'm not. I don't care. Why do I use these? Because I like the concept of the Ashby arrow. I like a heavy arrow. I like the heavy FOC. I also like big blood trails, so I use huge broadheads, okay, 1.5 inch wide cut huge broadheads because I want big blood trails. And I also like to see my arrow in flight, so I shoot very big feathers. Okay, they're only 4 inches long, but they're 1.5 inch high. They're a high back. I chop them myself, but that gives me that. When I have that flight, when I shoot that arrow, I get this amazing view in flight. As you saw, I can see it looks like a big wiffle ball, or almost like somewhere between a golf ball and a baseball sized ball that's flying down there towards the target. That's absolutely amazing to see. So for me, I pick and choose what I want. I have no problems whatsoever tailoring things to my needs, picking and choosing what I get value out of. I suggest you do the same. There is amazing shooting instruction out there. Take it all in for everything it's worth and use it. Take bits and pieces of it. Do whatever you want to. Never tell somebody to stay in their lane. Oh, that's, like I said, that kind of stuff doesn't fly very well. But point being is, all this stuff, information is available to you. Me personally, my method of shooting and how I will probably shoot the rest of my life is when I'm in that shop, right there, that shop, and I'm shooting at the bag target with my eyes closed, come in, my eyes closed, focus on my release, that kind of thing, whatever I'm doing and stuff like that, or my bow arm, that's where I practice my form stuff. My form doesn't have to match anybody else's. I don't care. I don't care if my bow is not straight up and down. I don't care if it's not here. I don't care if my cant is too much. I don't care if my elbow is bent too much, not bent enough. My grip is solid. My grip is loose. I don't care what anybody says. It's mine. I will shoot it any way I want to. But with that said, pick and choose what pieces you want, and if you need help with something, get it. I would not take anything away from any of these guys that I mentioned. Like I said, they're all phenomenal. There's a tremendous amount of information out there. Some people trying to reinvent the wheel, not the ones we were talking about, but there are. I mean, some people take this stuff too nitty-gritty that it'll never make a difference. But remember this, it's meant to be fun, and you are basically shooting a stick and a string. There is not a reason to majorly overcomplicate this, all right? So just take that all with a grain of salt. And as far as what I do and how I do it, it's what works for me. If it benefits you, great. If it doesn't, find somebody else that has a style that does benefit you. There is no right and wrong in traditional bow hunting. Period. At all. Ever. There is no right and wrong in any of that kind of stuff. Some of the best people in every single sport were the ones that broke the rules. Plain and simple. Or did not follow suit. Okay, so keep that in mind also. So there is no right and wrong. Find the parts that work for you. You might find something that works from, you know, if you take all these, you go into like the Push or something and you take all their different schools, which I've never been in, but I know they got them and I know they do a great job with them. But you might go through there and take all these different instruction courses, and it's okay to take a release idea from this one and a bow arm idea from this one and a mantra from this one and an attitude from this one and the way you hold your head from this one and your back tension choices from this one. It's all fine. There's nothing wrong with that. Okay? This is your shooting style. Build it your way. Do what you want. But do not think for a second that when I made that video that I meant that when I said I'm done with all those shooting techniques, that I meant they were bad in any way. But I will tell you this. I will never ever care about a pull-through release ever again. I will never care about paying attention to that kind of stuff. I don't care what it does. I want my release static. I have fought this for over 20 years trying to pull through. I'll never do it. And yet I have people telling me that I'm doing it all wrong. I would be better if I were to pull through my release. I'm not going to do better. I don't need to do better. That, if I can do that every time I let go of an arrow, I'll never need to do better the rest of my life. We're at 18 yards. My max is 20. If I can put an arrow like that every single time, I never will care about whether my release is what it's doing. And I'll never tell myself, pull through. I'll never say that. I'll never ever think about it again. Why? I don't need to. This one works better for me. Works better for me. Will it work better for you? I don't know. You'll have to see. But if somebody tells you, well, you need to pull through your release, you know, again, some of that stuff just pisses you off because you spend all these years trying to do what people tell you is the right way to do it. I'm not buying that. Okay, I don't need to. If you're looking for something and you want to do that stuff, more power to you. There is incredible educational instructors out there. Me personally, my stuff, no. I'm done with it. I stick with everything I said in that video. I will never focus on anything when I'm shooting in a target to hit it other than focusing on the spot I want to hit. Nothing else will be in my mind. I will work on the form stuff occasionally in that shed when I'm shooting at that bag target and focusing on eyes closed, blind bail, you know, that kind of thing. But nope. But like I said, I did not try to take anything away from any of those guys when I made that. But my loyalty is to you guys as followers and people that watch this channel, and you care and want to hear what I have going on. Well, what I have going on right now is that my shooting has never, ever been better. And for the first time in my life, I gave up on everything that somebody told me I was supposed to be doing with it. I gave up on back tension. I gave up on my bow arm. I gave up on caring about where my elbow is. I gave up on the release. I gave up on all of that stuff. It has helped me tremendously. Will that work for you? I don't know. But if it doesn't, or you don't even want to try it, there is amazing instruction out there that will cover every aspect of it by amazing people, and don't be afraid to take advantage of it. There you go. Thanks for watching.